We now have a new challenge, perhaps the most monumental in recorded history. The opportunity to investigate a phenomenon that could change our destiny. A look at ourselves 1,000 years in the future.
We're going to examine and perhaps question some widely held theories of what may have happened to this Earth of ours. We're going to investigate some strange and bizarre events in the present. Unbelievable happenings as fresh as today's headlines. And more important, perhaps, we're going to take a searching and scientific look into the future. We're reaching more and more out into space. Perhaps, as we may learn, someone, something, somewhere in space is reaching out to us.
Who the visitors are, where they're from, and what they want is unknown.
Bigfoot was attracting national attention and was now rapidly becoming the most intriguing mystery on the North American continent.
Many people have seen ghosts and reported incredible experiences from the realm of the spirit world. Who can tell what this young man will see as he falls deep into a trance?
Welcome to After Dark Radio and your host, Bryan Alvarez.
What's going on, everybody? We are back here on After Dark Radio, September 7, 2013. Figure4online.com/wrestlingovserver.com. Haven't been here in a few weeks. Lance, sadly, is home. He's not on the show tonight. But we have already got the phone lines ringing off the hook. If you've been on the front page, doing a new deal now, I've got a list of topics that I'll be posting on Friday afternoon. Not just a list of topics, but links to articles about said topics. We've got physicists to test if universe is a computer simulation, a ghost who photobombed a Facebook photo. That's right. Human mind control experiment a success, and GM saying almost driverless cars coming by 2020. Obviously, a lot of things to talk about on all of these stories. I'll talk more about them as we get going, but phones are ringing, so let's get going. You're on After Dark Radio. Who is this, and where are you calling from?
Oh, Chico, this is Marco from Las Vegas.
What's going on, Marco?
There's a couple things I wanted to get a follow-up on, and then I got an excellent question.
An excellent question. All right.
All right, first off, regarding the, where's it going to start? Well, what's the update on that? Like, they're going to send 1 million people to Mars or something? You can never come back?
I've heard absolutely nothing about that. It was actually going to be 4 people to Mars. And they needed millions of dollars. Yeah. 4 people to Mars for a lifetime. Never to return. I haven't heard an update. I would guess that, man, how much were they, let's see, trip to Mars, never to return. Let's see if, there you go. These people want to go to Mars and never come back. So, 165,000 applications have been sent to this place. I'll try and get an update here as we go along and find out if, in fact, they've made any money. Last time I checked, they were millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars away. But they may have made some money in the meantime.
Yeah, that's still no bias to me. You couldn't pay me enough to go there.
Oh, I found it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I found it.
Okay.
All right, they need, not sure how much they need, but to cut to the chase, so far they've got $132,000 donated.
That's it? That's all they have?
$132,000. $59,000 has come from the United States. So I guess, I don't know what that says about the United States, but there you go.
All right. Well, the next thing was regarding the universe is like simulation or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was that I'm trying to think. Is that are they making reference to like that episode of The Twilight Zone where like the guy figures out that everybody's watching him or something like that? Like everybody's being watched.
I think that'd probably be a little bit more like the Truman Show. This is more like they're comparing it to The Matrix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've I guess I don't know how exactly they came to this conclusion. I mean, it's in the article, but the way that it was explained, I'll read the paragraph. I was not sold on the conclusion they came to. Basically, this the University of Bonn in Germany claim they found evidence the Matrix was perhaps less than fiction. And essentially they claim that the universe, there are a lot of simulations of the universe that have been created. And when you create a simulation of the universe, there are boundaries to certain physical laws, and they found those same boundaries to physical laws in the real universe. So they've concluded that perhaps these simulations, because of that our own universe is a simulation. But my thought would be maybe we just design simulations under the same laws as our own universe, and not vice versa. Anyway, that was my thought.
That's definitely something I'd read into. And now for my excellent question. What are the odds of getting Vampiro on the show to talk about his paranormal show?
You know what? I might be able to do that, actually. That's right. Vampiro has, in fact, he has a paranormal. He has a ghost hunter style show, if I recall correctly.
It was like, I got to flip through it a couple times. It was like Paranormal, Dos Mil Doce, or something.
So you've seen it?
I've seen it. Like, I'd flip through. I don't know what time it'd be on. Like, it's on in Spanish, but, like, it was like, obviously it was through reruns, but I saw just excerpts of it. I'm like, hey, that's Vampiro. That's
right. Did the show appear to be any good?
It was all right. Like, the first time I got a glimpse at it, I was about to leave somewhere, so I didn't get to see that much of a show, but I just figured it was like a lot of the paranormal shows, like with the ghost hunters or taps or, something like that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of it.
Well, I want to thank you very much for the call. I will see what I can do. I haven't talked to Vampiro literally in years, actually. But I will see what I can do. That might actually be interesting. There are a lot of wrestlers that I'm sure would like to talk about this. Brian Kendrick, obviously, would have a lot of crazy theories. And Vampiro does a ghost hunter show in Mexico. So maybe one of these days we'll get him on and talk some ghosts. All right, back to the phones. You are on After Dark Radio. Who is this and where are you calling from?
This is Quinlan calling from New York City.
Quinlan, what is happening?
I called today to talk about something that happened to me a few years ago when I went to New York Comic-Con and I met the cast of Finding Bigfoot.
You met the cast of Finding Bigfoot at Comic-Con?
Yes, they were holding a panel. I'd never heard of the show. Well, I heard of the show, but I never watched the show.
Sure.
It was before you ever mentioned it on your radio show. And all four of them were there, the hosts of the show, Moneymaker, Mark, and Bobo, and Renee, and I forget the fourth guy's name. And they took questions from the audience, and this was the most interesting part of the panel. Many people asked the question, what if one day we find out Bigfoot is real? Or they would start off with that question. And I think his name is Mark, would always interrupt him and say, let me interrupt you right there. Bigfoot is real. It's a scientific fact.
You mean Matt Moneymaker? Is that what we're talking about?
Matt Moneymaker.
Okay, yeah.
He would always interrupt him and say, Bigfoot is real. It's a fact. I've seen them as close as you're sitting to me right now. They're real. I've seen them. So they're real to him.
Yes.
And another question was, they asked Bobo, why do you bring your dog with you sometimes for the hunts, for a Sasquatch? And he responded, the dog helped me find my first Squatch.
That's true. That's his claim.
So he's found multiple of them. But the most interesting question was, many people asked, they would name what town they're from. And they'd ask if they could find a Bigfoot nearby. And no matter where someone lived, there was a town within driving distance that Mark said they were crawling with Bigfoot. Like, say, I live in Monroe, Pennsylvania. Oh, go to Easton Forest. There's a ton of them there. No matter where someone lived, there were like 3 people asked this question. So apparently there are like Bigfoots all over the place. So they have no excuse for not finding any, apparently, from what I can see.
So in conclusion, you found these people to be, or at least Matt Moneymaker, completely insane.
Yes, they definitely were insane. But then there was something they had at the end of their panel that made them look sane. Because they were plugging a TV show that was going to air on Animal Planet that season. I haven't seen it, but it was called Mermaid. And it was basically the same thing as Finding Bigfoot, except they looked for mermaids. And they had footage from the show where these guys went into some cave underwater, and they came out and said, we found definite proof that mermaids lived in this cave recently. And the video ended, and the looks on their faces were like, even we're embarrassed by this video. So apparently there's an even more ridiculous show on Animal Planet about looking for mermaids.
I remember the mermaid show. There was, in fact, a show about attempting to find a living mermaid. It was complete 100% bullshit. And I am happy to hear that Matt Moneymaker did not believe that it was real. That does lend some credibility to him.
Even they thought it was ridiculous. And I was like, wow, this show must be really bad. Hold on.
Ryan, you still there?
I'm still here.
Ryan, I just want to say really quickly, you're amazing, and you give me so many hours of entertainment over the years, and I really appreciate it, and keep up the fantastic work. You don't even know who I am, but thank you so much.
Who is this?
I used to go on the board as Exias.
You've called before, Exias.
Yeah, your shows are amazing, and you give me so many hours of entertainment. I appreciate it so much.
Well, thanks. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
You keep an eye on Quinlan.
Yeah, so in conclusion, they live the gimmick.
They do live the gimmick. That is a fact.
Yeah.
Now, have you watched Finding Bigfoot since?
I haven't watched it. They showed a clip from their first episode. I've watched it here and there since, but I haven't watched it regularly.
How about that? Well,
and
Quinlan,
have you and Vinny ever considered watching The Room as a film to review?
Oh, we could. I've never considered it.
Have you heard of the film?
I believe it's been mentioned here. I don't know a lot about it.
I think you and Vinny would enjoy it.
Watch that.
The Room.
Yeah. Review that film. Yes.
All right. I want to thank you very much for the call. I will put The Room here on the list. New season of Finding Bigfoot, Season 4, starts November 10th. And apparently they're going all over the world. They're visiting South Asia, Nepal, it says here on their Facebook. That's exactly what it says. Off to South Asia, Nepal to film another episode. I guess we shall see what happens. I should read through this Facebook. It says here, the Finding Bigfoot team was informed today that Finding Bigfoot is the #1 most anticipated fall show to premiere on Animal Planet and is the 4th most anticipated fall show to premiere in America. How about that? Season 4 on its way. All right, back to the phones. You are on the air. Who is this and where are you calling from?
This is Kevin from Los Angeles.
Kevin, what's up?
Has anyone talked about the mind control articles or the automatic cars, the stop-motion car thing?
Those are two that, in fact, have not been discussed yet.
Excellent. In my opinion, it kind of sucks, and actually I kind of have a very apathetic way of looking at it, but I think America...
Which one are you talking about, the telepathy or the cars?
Kind of both,
Okay.
More so the cars. I think America, or actually the world in general, is getting a little lazy, because if you think about it, driving is... very tedious, very, you got to pay for gas, maintenance the car, you got to watch out on the road, pay attention all the time, long drives, whatever. But it's honestly a privilege, and a lot of people take it for granted, and now we really don't even have to, drive by, what they say, like 2020, that, automatic cars would be, a thing, and people driving, stick shift, people, driving themselves would be a thing in the past. And it's actually kind of weird, but it's actually very cool in another sense.
I don't know if I'm just getting old, but I don't want a car that drives itself. I don't even want an automatic. I have a stick shift. I like to have complete control of my vehicle. And and it's not even like me, but if you read the article about the cars that are going to drive themselves, the article talks about this and that and everything like that. But to me, the key is at the very end of the article, like the very end of the last paragraph. It says, and I'll read this here. Actually, maybe I don't know where it's at. But basically, it's talking about how when you drive these cars, here it is. GM is aware the system could make drivers complacent, turning over control to the car, even though the system is not designed for that. In other words, it drives itself, but it's not like you can go to sleep. It's not like you should be texting the whole time and not paying attention. And you just know, if you've been out on the road, that everybody is going to abuse this privilege of a self-driving car. And I see it being a disaster. I mean, people can't even drive their cars without texting nowadays when they know they got to pay attention. When you know you don't have to pay attention, all you're going to be doing is messing around on your phone, your iPad, or reading or whatever, and that's not what these cars are designed to do.
Exactly. It's I just kind of skimmed over that one, but the only one that I really read and kind of broke down in my head was the picture from Facebook or with the little girl in the background, the freaky thing, and
the photo bomb.
Yes, the ghost photo bomb. In all honesty, I'm on the internet a lot, like not like any other 20-year-old person any day, but I see a lot of stuff, and people put a lot out there, and the question what's photoshopped or what's not is especially it's always up in the air. Like, you never know what, like, obviously, the ones like of, Miley Cyrus doing whatever, those are Photoshopped, but there are ones that look legit and look real, and even though they point out the lining textures of the window or the colors or something like that and how it can't be Photoshopped, but honestly, you never know. I mean, computers are crazy things, and, it might be Photoshopped, it might not, but, hopefully it's not, because then that that lady isn't going to be sleeping very well for the next good while.
I don't think it's photoshopped, but I'm skeptical that it is a ghost. Several people, if you scroll down in the comments area there, believe that it is a garden statue of basically an angel, essentially. An angel garden statue. And a few people have said that, yeah, I saw one just like that at Lowe's or whatever. And when I look at it, I mean, I haven't been to the garden store recently, but Whitney does go to the garden store. I've gone with her. And that goddamn thing does look like a garden statue that I have seen at the garden store before. So I don't know if I don't know if it, I mean, if it is, I presume it would have to be a hoax, because otherwise the person taking the picture would be like, yeah, it's my garden statue. So that was one theory, and the other theory was that somehow it was actually a reflection of the back of that lady's head. I'm not sold on that one because of the angle of the camera. I don't know how that would be the reflection of the back of her head, but I kind of think it's a garden statue. That's my theory.
Well, something that looks like that beats the hell out of a John Cena garden gnome.
That's a fact.
And one more thing before you let me go. I was listening to the archives, and I remember, I think it was 2008, 2009, something like that, but Vinny did a solo Bryan and Vinny show where he just talked about football and sports and open lines, basically. Is there any chance of that happening in the near future?
I would say, and I very rarely say this, 0% chance. 0% chance. Vinny has horrible nightmares about that show. I don't even know why. I think that he just... I think he set his standards way too high, and I think that a few crank calls here and there just destroyed his love for it. I think he can't keep up with it. I just don't think it's ever going to happen again.
I want to hug Vinny. He's so apathetic. Sucks.
Yeah, he needs a good hug here and there. Luckily, he's getting married.
Yeah, I'll hug him in Vegas.
That's right. All right, well, I want to thank you very much for the call, and give us a call back sometime. We got Granny's trying to get online here. She's trying to call. I'm going to try and give her a special number. Let's see if she can figure this out. I can't remember if that is even the number. I forget what the number is of the other line. I'm just going to tell her to keep trying. Lines open now. Granny's got a theory. And it's something else. It's something else. So yeah, this thing to me does look like, in fact, let me Google. See if I can find some of these garden statues. And, yeah, there are a couple here online that, in fact, look remarkably like the mysterious ghost in this supposed photo. All right, let's go to the phones. Maybe this is Granny. Who is this, and where are you calling from?
Bryan Alvarez, this is Matt Daniels from New Hampshire calling back from last week.
What's going on, Matt? We didn't have a show last week, but what's happening?
What are you talking? There was a show with Lance Storm last week.
That's 2 weeks ago there, buddy.
Oh, boy. Well, I wanted to get into two things real quick. One thing was I called in and I asked the question about the marijuana.
Yes.
And after you hung up on me, my call was done, you said you couldn't stand the smell of it.
Can't stand it.
I don't understand that.
It smells awful.
I just, I know hardcore people against it, but they like the smell of it. It's just fascinating to me.
Well, I, for example, there are people that think that hard liquor, rum, for example, they think that it tastes good. And I think these people are completely out of their minds. Hard liquor tastes like alcohol, like rubbing alcohol. It doesn't taste good. Strawberry lemonade tastes good, okay? Rum doesn't. It doesn't taste good. And when people tell me it tastes good, it's like, no, you're incorrect. Much like the belief that marijuana smells good, it doesn't. It smells horrible.
Very interesting. I mean, I agree with the alcohol comparison, though. But
you know what it could be? It could be that the smell of marijuana and the taste of alcohol to people who smoke and to people who drink a lot of alcohol, it is a trigger for them. And that it doesn't actually taste good, but they enjoy the feeling of being drunk. They enjoy the feeling of being high. And so when they smell marijuana or they taste hard alcohol, it tastes good to them, so to speak. But in reality, it doesn't taste good nor smell good.
Well, I see what you're saying, but there are a lot of, like I said, a lot of non-smokers who despise it. I mean, my mother, for example, hates it, but she likes the smell of it. But I do see your point. But I did want to talk about, well, actually something that frightened me. I didn't even know about this. The ghost picture, that girl with the ghost in the background.
Yes,
that was apparently taken somewhere in the state of New Hampshire. So that just really frightens me.
So you're in New Hampshire?
Oh yes, remember Matt from New Hampshire.
That's why. The New Hampshire part just goes. I write down Matt. I don't write down the state.
Well, Matt from NH, 2 letters, Brian. Not too hard.
I suppose that's possible. So you could live next door to this haunted house.
That's very possible.
Do you believe that this is a ghost, or do you believe that this is a garden angel?
I don't exactly believe. I don't 100% believe in ghosts. My buddy here does, and he was trying to explain to me, but I just.
So your buddy believes that this is legit.
Yes. He's right here. I could have him explain it.
I actually would like you to put him on the phone to explain it.
Okay. Hey, Brad.
What's happening?
What's happening there, Brad?
Nothing much. How's it going?
Not too bad. I'd like you to explain this ghost to me. There's been some skepticism expressed by other callers.
Well, personally, I don't know too much about the picture, but from looking at it and from the article that was read to me, it sounds pretty legit, and I personally believe in ghosts. Haven't had any experiences with ghosts myself, but I know a lot of people who have told me about experiences.
Now, I'll give you this. I don't believe that is a Photoshop, but I think that it could be someone that put a garden angel out behind that window to take this photograph. I do believe that's possible, but I don't think this is Photoshopped.
I agree. It could be faked. At first, I thought it may have been a reflection of somebody maybe taking the picture, but clearly it's not. There's no camera or whatever.
The photo analysis debunked it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which that's a good theory, Brian.
Do you, Brad, have a ghost photograph that you feel is the best evidence for ghosts? If you could point us in a direction.
I personally don't.
What about a Ghost Hunters
episode? I don't watch Ghost Hunters, but I've had a picture of someone that I know. Somebody took a picture of their daughter through a car window, and it just so happened in the car window in the picture, in the clouds, there was a reflection of a picture-perfect, like, angel.
Really?
Yeah, and it just so happened to be like that.
Now, since you're on the line, let me ask you a couple more questions here about these ghosts. So you mentioned now the picture here. This is some. I mean, we're looking through a window at this ghost, and you talk about the reflection on the car window. What is it about ghosts and glass and mirrors?
I don't know. That's a pretty interesting question.
Because the mirrors always bother me. I don't like when you look in the mirror and you see something else there. It never happened to me, but if it did, I would die.
Yeah, that'd be some freaky stuff. I remember watching the movie Mirrors. It was a horror movie, and this woman, well, like her reflection ended up killing her in the mirror, and it was pretty freaky stuff. Don't like mirrors, so you know.
No, I don't either.
From a possession deal, maybe.
No good. Well, Brad, I want to thank you very much for the call. You and Matt, thanks so much, and we will continue taking calls on what the hell this thing here is in the glass, in the door glass. I'm going to try giving Granny another number. I think I remember it now. It's hard to remember the number when I'm here ranting on the air. I think this is it. I sure hope so. I'm going to tell her this is a special line just for you. Let's see how this goes. And if it's not the number, someone's going to get woken up here at 12:27 a.m. That'll be no good. Very excited, actually, at the return of finding Bigfoot. Apparently, I got to watch Mountain Monsters, too. Mountain Monsters. Fortunately, I don't get... is it Destination America? Is that the... I think they've got a bunch of different... I forget what shows on Destination America, but I don't get Destination America. But just a tip for everybody. If you have a cable system and you don't get Destination America, check the... you're on demand, because I actually get Destination America shows on demand, even though I don't get Destination America. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. Who is this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Trey in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Trey, what's up?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
So, you and I talked about a month ago, I think, about the Joe Rogan experience where they were talking about... I'm sorry, not the Joe Rogan experience.
Hey, could you hold on 1 second?
TV show.
Hold on 1 second. I've my grandmother, Granny, is calling on the other line. She's going to kill me if I don't pick up. So you're going to be on the phone with her here.
Oh, great.
All right, hold on. Granny, what's up?
Brian.
Yes.
Am I on?
You're on the air, but I want you to hold on a second because we got another caller on the line. So let's get through his call, and then we'll get to you.
Okay.
All right, so hang out. Would you like to say hello, caller?
Of course. Granny and I were Facebook friends for a while. She wished me happy birthday once.
How about that?
Yeah, it was a good time.
There you go. All right, go ahead.
All right, so you and I had talked about a month ago about the Joe Rogan experience where he was talking about the singularity, merging humans and technology, and we talked about souls and all this kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
So I just had this theory, and it's maybe a little long-winded, but I'll try to get through it as quickly as possible.
All right.
So I've heard this theory posited, right, that gray aliens, in fact, are coming to Earth because they lack something that we have, right?
Sure.
And it's speculated that the thing that they lack that we have is a soul, and that they're trying to figure out either a way to harvest that soul or that they want to figure out how to have their own. Sure?
Okay.
So my thought is this. What if, in the future, because I can't remember if you talked about this on After Dark or if it was on the Bryan and Benny show, we saw those pictures that the artist had done of, like, humans 50,000 years in the future or whatever, right? Where our eyes got bigger and opalescent and all that kind of crazy stuff. So my thought is this. What if in the future, right, through technology, the singularity, merging of technology, whatever, we actually become gray aliens. But in the process of that, we wind up losing our souls. And thus, the gray aliens are, in fact, just ourselves coming back from the future in an effort to try and figure out where they went wrong.
Well, that I'm not a proponent of any time travel theory that goes back in time, personally.
Well, quite technically, neither am I. But if we're talking about 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 years in the future, who even knows, Brian?
I know that's true. Michio Kaku says never, though. Ever. Never, ever, ever.
And he's probably the smartest guy we've got right now.
He's smarter than me. I know that.
Well, he's smarter than me. And I mean, I would go ahead and say probably you're smarter than me. So
I don't know about that.
Below him. Well,
But
I don't know.
I do have to say this about the theory of aliens coming here to get something they don't have. I just maybe interstellar travel is actually easier than we think at this given moment. You know, I mean, if I look at my iPad or my iPhone, I mean, nobody would have envisioned that 50 years ago. You know what I mean?
Absolutely not.
So maybe like this
25 years ago.
Sure.
25 years ago, Brian.
10 years ago, yeah. So the idea of interstellar travel seems very difficult right now, but maybe like 50 years from now, all of a sudden it'll be like, well, geez, you just got to do this, and we do it. So maybe it's easier, and you don't need to be so advanced to do it. But I've always kind of thought, like, I forget, is it Zachariah Sitchin? Whoever's theory was based on the aliens came here and they needed gold, and so they
charity of the gods.
Yes, so they created man to mine for gold. And it's like, hold on a second. You guys could travel across the galaxy. You are advanced enough to travel across the galaxy, and you need to come here to get some gold? You know what I mean?
No,
like,
I'm
you
with
can't...
you.
I would think that you would just be able to create some gold. You can travel across the universe. Just make some gold. You really got to come here and create a man? You can create a man, but you can't create gold?
Out of mud. They created us out of mud, but they can't create gold, period.
Very skeptical, very skeptical. All right, well, I want to thank you very much for the call. And
I had one other question.
Yes, go ahead.
I sent you a copy of a DVD, Bigfoot Hunter Still Searching. Do you know if you got it?
I believe I have it. I have not opened it yet.
Okay, that's fine. Just wanted to make sure.
I'll get to work on that.
All right, thanks, Brian.
All right, thanks so much for sending it. Thanks very much for the call. All right, Granny.
Brian, here's my idea of the aliens.
Your idea of the aliens, all right?
You know how we often wonder how they haven't tried to contact us and things like that?
Sure.
And, you know, recently how people have got so their pets are so important to them, you know, and they each have 2 or 3 pets and just treat them like their kids and sometimes even better than the kids.
Yeah, I have a couple of those.
Well, what we might not know is that maybe these pets are aliens and they're here to program us.
The aliens, the animals are aliens and they're here to program us.
That's right.
What are they programming us for?
Well, I mean, you know, just whatever they want us to learn from them.
You know, I was talking to someone today about my cats, and I was explaining some of the behavior of Tiggy, who is our smartest cat, and this person just flat out concluded, "Well, she has you trained." And I thought about that, and then you mentioned that, and maybe you're right. Maybe they have us trained.
Yeah, because it just seems like in the last few years that everybody has a pet, and they all just treat it like, you know, like it was part of the family, and so that's just my idea on it.
That perhaps these now are all pets aliens, Granny, or just the ones that we really care about?
Well, most everybody that has one cares about them. So.
But I mean, are we talking just like cats and dogs? Do chickens count?
Yeah, no, just mostly cats and dogs.
Mostly cats and dogs.
Yeah, so the next time you're sitting down petting it, just ask them what its alien name is.
I'll let you know what it says.
Only bad thing there is they either spade or neuter them.
That's true. Well, you don't want aliens running rampant here on the planet, Granny. We'll be overrun.
Okay, well, that's my thought on it.
All right, Granny. Well, next week maybe we'll have some people commenting on your thought.
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. How about that? I should have made the analogy with Granny. Oh, well, it's too late. And people talking about how the aliens haven't tried to contact us. I mean, maybe they have, but we are unaware of their... we don't have the proper receiver. In other words, I communicate with my cats. I talk to them. They know English. I know I sound crazy, but like I don't mean we speak English to each other, but they know certain words. They know what dinner means. They know what bug means. They know what snack means. They know a fair number of words. I've trained them. You know, when a bug's in the house, I say bug, and they all freak out because they know there's a bug there to go kill. If I say snack, they all run to the kitchen right where the snacks are. If I say dinner, they all run upstairs because they know it's time for dinner. They know these words. I can communicate with them. I have no idea what they're saying, but there's one-way communication at least. But if, for example, I wanted to call my cat, like let's say that I went to Cannon Beach and I left the cats at home and there were no humans in this house. If I wanted to call my cats, it would fail because the cats don't understand. They don't have a receiver. They can't pick up the phone. They don't know how to operate the cell phone, obviously. They don't know how to pick up a cordless or a corded phone or a cordless phone. There's no way for them to receive the message. So if I were at the beach and I was attempting desperately to contact my cats, it wouldn't matter. They would have no idea I was trying to contact them. They don't understand what the phone ringing means. They don't understand any of that. So, to extrapolate it out, it could very well be that there are alien civilizations that are attempting to contact us, but they are attempting to contact us through a medium of which we are currently unaware, right? Although, one could also argue that if they are so advanced, then they should just be able to contact us via our radios, right? So maybe they're not actually trying to contact us, but maybe they are using, and this is actually a pretty popular theory, you know, they are, what we are looking for, these radio waves and such, is not how they're broadcasting. And that's the issue with why we have not found a signal, because we're looking for an antiquated signal, which an advanced civilization would not be using. They would not be broadcasting over AM airwaves, for example. So anyway, that is the theory. All right, what else do we have here? Besides 8 million emails from Granny. Giving up, she said 10 minutes ago. Guess that was before I sent her the special line just for you. All right, let's see what we've got in terms of emails here. You can always send your emails to Bryan at WrestlingObserver.com, After Dark in the subject line. This is from Xavier. Bryan, I decided to write you after hearing the Bryan and Vinny show last night because you were doing it during a thunderstorm. It was kind of interesting to me because I have a fear of thunderstorms. I've even had to go to a therapist, psychiatrist, and even tried a wacky hypnotist. So the show last night kind of connected with me, especially when Vinny was scared as hell when you read the things that happened to people during them, and he kept saying to end the show. Anyway, the fear of them even made me go through the 7 stages of grief. First was shock. I remember it really got bad. Actually, on the night Tough Enough with Austin as the host, as it was hail and lightning during the first episode, and I called an ambulance for a panic attack. Also, for some reason, when it's a storm and I go hiding in like a bathroom for some reason, title changes happen, like when Punk won the belt versus Edge on Raw, and when Del Rio cashed in on Punk during SummerSlam 2011. Then number 2 was guilt, because I was always freaking out, and I could see it affected my mom. Then anger over my fear and bargaining. I remember even going as far as praying and saying to God that I would not mind the storms if I could somehow get another wrestling boom period out of it. How odd of me, he notes. Then was depression. Now I work through it, and I accept my fear and have hope of getting over it. Speaking of fear and the cats, God, my cats last night were just absolutely petrified during the storm. As noted, there was a lot of lightning and a lot of thunder. And as someone noted, I should have played some Lightning Hopkins on the program last night. But a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, and Snorky, who is the oldest cat, 3 years old, she is a legitimate scaredy cat. There's no other way to describe it. When people come over, when she hears the doorbell or people knocking on the door, she runs upstairs, not only goes under the bed, but burrows into the box spring. And she will not come down until she is sure there are no children here. So apparently some children have bothered her in the past. But she was in the box spring last night during the thunderstorm. Tiggy, who is the smartest cat, 2 years old, was not hiding, but she was very alert. Just put it that way. She was very alert. Ears, eyes, everything. Just keeping an eye on things. She'd hear the thunder. She'd look around, not happy, but she was there to ride it out. And then there's the wolf, who is 1 and very dumb. Literally the dumbest cat I've ever seen. I love the wolf, but so dumb. And oblivious. Absolutely oblivious to what was going on. He did not know what was happening. He did not care. He was just the wolf. So, and Vinny was actually probably... Vinny didn't go into the box spring. So I guess Snork was more scared than Vinny. But it was a close race there. All righty. Oh, God, Granny's emailed me 8 million times here. All right. This is from Mike. Have you seen this story regarding rats maybe having near-death experiences? Basically, as these rats are euthanized, they were placed in an MRI machine, and it was found that after their hearts stopped beating, there was a massive amount of brain activity, which could explain all of the near-death stuff people tend to have. Question for you is, what do you think? And being that you can channel the rats, do the rats see a ratty version of God? Since so many human believers think they see a God in their image during their near-death experience. Love the show, particularly Lance Storm show from 2 weeks ago. I think that they've, I guess this is what I probably heard. I did hear this story. I was under the impression that they had done brain scans of humans that had passed away that had the brain activity. Maybe I was confused and they were just here talking about the rats. But I don't know. I don't know what to think. I mean, yes, there's brain activity, but what does that mean? Does that mean that they're seeing something? Does that mean that their brain is creating something? Are they attempting to process something that they are experiencing? I don't know. I don't have any idea. But it is certainly interesting. Obviously, there are a lot of non-believers who think that all of the near-death experiences are the result of your brain just giving you a show on the way out. That's certainly the theory from those who do not believe that there is an afterlife. And my guess would be that those who do believe there is an afterlife would think that, okay, well, as you're dying and you begin to experience the afterlife at the very end, your brain is attempting to process it, and then you're dead. So I don't know. I do not know. This is from NPR. A burst of brain activity just after the heart stops may be the cause of so-called near-death experiences. The insight comes from research involving 9 lab rats whose brains were analyzed as they were being euthanized. Researchers discovered what appeared to be a momentary increase in electrical activity in the brain associated with consciousness. Although the experiment relied on animals, the results could apply to humans as well. The researchers say now science tells us the experience really could be real for these individuals, and there is actual biological basis for that. There is a scientific basis in their brain. It's all really happening in their brain during this very early period of cardiac arrest. Now, one thing I got to say is, let's theorize that the non-believers in the afterlife are correct, and that as you die, your brain puts on a show for you as you go. Let's just say that this is what this is all about. If that would be the case, then it would stand to reason that anyone whose heart stopped, who died, so to speak, and then came back, they should all experience this. And in fact, there are people who die and are brought back that talk about the experiences that they had, their so-called afterlife experience. But there are a lot of people whose hearts stop and they are dead, so to speak, for a good amount of time. Minutes on end. And when they come back, they report that there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. No visions, no light, no life flashing before their eyes, nothing. So I don't know. the fact that there are people that don't see anything leads me to believe that perhaps it is not a biological process, because that would be something I would presume that would happen to everybody at that point. If it happened to all 6 rats, right? So I don't really know. It's difficult to test this. You would have to have terminally ill individuals who agreed to have their brains mapped, and you would have to hope that some of them came back and could report back. You basically have to do the brain scan, check the neurological activity as these people passed away, and obviously some of them would not be brought back. Some would, and you would have to do this over a period of time with many of them, and then you would have to determine if every single one of them that had brain activity did every single one of them have brain activity, and if they did, every single one of them that did have brain activity, did they all have a vision of a life after death, or did some of them have it and some of them did not? If that's the case, then one would presume that this brain activity was not part of this process. So, I don't know. It's very, very interesting. All righty. This here is from Steven. He is so drunk he emailed it twice. It is 3 a.m. in the UK, and I am extremely drunk. But about the simulation topic, perhaps every weird thing seen, such as UFOs, ghosts, Bigfoot, etc., has been a weird part of the simulation where it was a glitch. I guess I would also explain why TNA is essentially following WCW's blueprint of failure. So he's saying that perhaps we live in a matrix, and it is a computer simulation, but there are glitches. For example, the greatest video game of all time, Super Mario Brothers, you could go to Minus World. There were various little glitches that you could discover. And maybe when you walk across a field and vanish into thin air, that's a glitch. Maybe that face in the glass was a glitch. Maybe when you think you see a giant man ape, glitch. Or practical joke by programmer. One or the other. That's a pretty well thought out email for being extremely drunk at 3 a.m. in the UK. Patrick. When I was younger, a younger lad, growing up in New Orleans, I moved in with 4 friends. We lived in a regular suburban neighborhood. One night, a big group of us were in the living room watching a movie. Gangs of New York, I think. Nothing scary. I heard the bathroom door shut. Being a group of 20-somethings, I had to stop the movie and spell it out for them. We're all here in the living room, and no one can get in or out without us knowing. Who the hell is in the bathroom? We could hear noises like someone taking a pee and flushing the toilet. We opened the bathroom door, and no one was in it, but you could clearly hear running water from a faucet which was not on. Also the sound of a man clearing his throat. Needless to say, everybody was freaked out. We heard it a bunch more times during the year, and it quickly became a joke. Hey, ghost, make sure you put the toilet seat down this time, we would say. One day, a friend noticed a reflection in the TV when it was turned off. It was midday, about 4 p.m., and there was a tall, dark figure standing in the middle of the living room. From time to time, the head would move as if looking around. If someone stood in front of it, he was blocking the figure, but you could make the figure out behind him. My friend stood behind the figure, and you couldn't see him at all, as he was blocked by the figure, except maybe his hands when he gave the figure bunny ears. Unless there was something there, how could it block out a reflection or have its reflection blocked? It was creepy as hell and lasted several minutes until we kind of moved on because there was nothing we could do about it. Seems like an odd reaction. I'd call Ghostbusters. I don't know. Another night, just me and another friend in the house. I had work in the morning, so I went to bed early. I woke up suddenly in the middle of the night, finding myself frozen, arms and legs sticking straight up into the air, and my head raised up. It felt as if I was being pulled up by all fours. I tried to scream for help, but I couldn't. I suddenly yelled, "Eddie, Eddie!" And he came crashing in holding a hammer. He saw me stuck there, and suddenly I was released, collapsed on the bed, scared the shit out of both of us. You don't say! One day, we adopted a cat and the strange things went away. But I found the problem. After Christmas time, we went to throw the fake tree into the attic. What we found up there was a skull in an old football helmet. The helmet was from a time when Chalmette High was all boys, which was many years ago. After an uncomfortable search by the cops, they told us that, yes, it was a human male skull. They believed it was purchased by a previous tenant for decoration purposes and left behind. Well, that was terrifying. As I sit here in pitch darkness with one light on, reading these in the middle of the night. No buys. Here's a creepy story that someone has sent me. Mummy found in a German attic contains human bones. How apropos, given the last story. Early last month, a 10-year-old German boy found a mummy in his grandmother's attic. Many considered it a hoax, but a radiological analysis shows the mummy contains actual human bones, though probably not from an ancient Egyptian. The find could open a criminal case. According to the German newspaper, CT scans and X-rays revealed a fairly intact human skeleton, including a skull with an arrowhead lodged in one of its eye sockets. It's no good. All of the bones, except for the skull, are wrapped in a kind of metal foil, which will make further X-ray analysis impossible. The skull is also wrapped with a metal diadem, kind of headband worn as a symbol of sovereignty. The skeleton itself is completely missing its neck vertebrae. Well, this sounds like a terrible situation for this mummy. Experts suspect, this is lovely, more than one body was used to make the mummy. The artifact was discovered last month where it had lain for decades in the attic. House owner's son assumed his father brought it and other souvenirs back from his travels in North Africa during the 50s. Fortunately, his father is deceased. 4'9", dates of the 20th century. That is no good. No good. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. What is this? Sometimes you just get the weirdest emails. This is what happens when you don't scan them before you do the show. Let's see if we've got one more here. Saw a commercial for this show, says Kenneth. Figured you'd be interested in it. Not sure it qualifies. It is premiering on the 28th. The Unexplained Files on the Science Channel, actually. Discovery, sorry. Sailors missing without a trace. Chupacabra's cousin. Blood Red Rain. Wednesdays at 9 p.m. It says at Science Channel, The Unexplained Files. So maybe check that out. Set the DVRs for that one. The Unexplained Files. Maybe I'll watch one of those for a review here at some point. All right, one more email. Neil here has sent this. This is from myscienceacademy.org. Elevator to the moon to become reality in 8 years. This is true. I don't know if it's true in the sense that they'll have it done in 8 years, but I've heard of this. The Liftport Group, a U.S.-based privately owned company with former NASA researcher Michael Lane at its head, is planning to build a space elevator to the moon. Michio Kaku, I believe, has talked about this on Coast to Coast. The idea of building an elevator from the Earth to the moon. Think about that. The idea of a space elevator stipulates a rocket-free way to transport people and cargoes into orbit with the use of a special cable. California-based company, founded by former NASA engineer, developed a cheap and easy way. Easy. An elevator to the moon. Easy. To get to the lunar surface, the project is based on a special ribbon cable on which transport modules and autonomous robots will travel. At first, the researchers plan to test the system on the planet. Test elevator will be 2 kilometers high. Afterwards, a working system will be built. Initially, the company will use a space elevator to connect the moon with a specially designed space station. Station will then be connected to a platform on Earth. 8 years, they say, to build the elevator. It will require the launch of a single spacecraft, which would resemble Sputnik 1. It is assumed such an elevator can already become a part of modern-day reality, taking into consideration the current level of technological development. The group does not doubt its success. The company is going to attract potential investors after the tests will be conducted on the funds raised by the internet. NASA, where Michael Lane worked before, has already evinced interest in the project. It is not a new idea. It was put forward by Konstantin Tsiolkovsky in 1895. That's a guy ahead of his time. And idea received detailed analysis in the works of others as well. So there you go. You can also go to Wikipedia and check out Space Elevator. And there is a wiki article on that. There you go. Very interesting. Including a diagram, which does in fact show the Earth and a cable and the moon. And you can get a picture of Konstantin Tsiolkovsky as well, who came up with this idea in 1896. All right, everybody, we are out of time. I want to thank you so much for participating today. Don't forget this show every Friday night. And it relies on your participation, your phone calls, your emails. The phone number, if you want to put it in your phone, 425-482-1686. That's 425-482-1686. I will always alert you as to the phone number and when we are taking calls on Twitter. So follow me at Bryan Alvarez. That's at Bryan Alvarez on Twitter. And those emails, Bryan Alvarez, send them to me, Bryan at WrestlingObserver.com. Make sure you put After Dark in the subject line, and I will read as many of them as I can on each show. So thanks so much, everybody, for listening. You can always check out WrestlingObserver.com for more, and we shall talk to you again after a while.